And good Monday morning, November the 4th. Can we believe that? When I do my fingers just right, do my arithmetic, that tells me tomorrow's election day. Boy, oh boy, you are going to see nothing in the news, the main news, as when I say national headlines today, of nothing but that. That's going to be it. What poll is leaning this way and how this poll is doing it, it's going to be a rough one. I'm going to warn you before you start getting into everything that happens today. Everything changes every few seconds. This person's winning, this person's winning. We won't know until tomorrow, will we? Vegas odds. I don't know how accurate they are. Pay attention to them. And Odie's right. It may be Wednesday before we know. Used to, a long once upon a time in America, you could find out who president was the same night. We're not sure of that anymore. Have mercy. It's been a long, hard fight for this one as we get near it. We've got someone who never ran up for president. That's the interesting thing about all of this. Joe ran, got the nomination. The person up for it this time has never actually won anything to do with the presidency. That's what's unique about it. I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong. I'm just saying those are the facts. Interesting. I want to bring this up. If you're coming into Meridian, you need to know this above all and beyond. This is going to be right across Highway 45, 22nd Avenue, right there at the intersection of Sefco. As you're going north there toward the Evangel Temple out of Meridian, it's blocked. This rig broke down. You'll have to find an alternative route to go around this. So keep that in mind. That's happening right now as we look at this. No injuries, it just quit. We don't want anybody wrecking and running into this. It would not be good. You can top a hill and not be paying attention, and the next thing you know, we got issues. So keep that in mind coming in downtown Meridian. We got all your headlines of national headlines, what's going on over the weekend we're going to tell you about. On the way, at the top of the hour, we will have local headlines, news, everything that's gone on in the area over the last 48 hours, 72 hours, just about. We'll tell you all about that coming up in just a moment. Right now, as we dust off the bad stuff, we get a good word. Let's go to Collinsville now.
If you grew up in a household like mine, your parents fully believed in busting your bottom when you did wrong. Did you ever have one of those parents right before they were about to whip you, give you that classic apologetic line, "Now this is going to hurt me way more than it's going to hurt you"? Now as a kid, I remember thinking, yeah, right. I mean, being on the receiving end of that belt or that switch was way worse than being on the giving end of it. Man, did that hurt. But beloved, it was supposed to. That spanking or switching or whooping was supposed to cause momentary pain to get your attention and to train you to not do that wrong thing you just did. Yeah, it was painful, but that little momentary pain was designed by God to keep you from the big, long-lasting pain later in life. That's why the Bible's wisdom in Proverbs 23:13 and 14 is so important for us. Do not withhold discipline from a child. If you strike him with a rod, he'll not die. If you strike him with a rod, you'll save his soul from Sheol. So parent and grandparent, do you want your child or grandchild to go to Sheol? That's the Hebrew word for the abode of the dead in general, but here the connotation is where the wicked go when they die. It's actually synonymous here with the New Testament concept of hell. And that word all of a sudden has our attention. Do you want your child to go to hell? No, of course not. Then don't withhold discipline from them. If you spank them or whip them appropriately, they'll not die. No, you'll actually save them from the eternal pain of everlasting death in hell. Now, parents today so greatly need to hear this godly wisdom because the world contradicts it. We hear that worldly wisdom all the time. Beloved, the world's going to hell, so don't follow the world. Parent like the Bible tells you to parent. Yeah, emotionally, it's not enjoyable. And yes, it's physically painful for the child in the moment, but in the end, it helps them so much more than it hurts them. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. And welcome back. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. It is Monday, November the 4th. Means Thanksgiving is coming up. Halloween is now over, and the countdown to Christmas is so close to us. I do hope we remember this time of year. I know that days turn into weeks, and the next thing you know, a month is gone. This has been a fast year for me. Let's not forget those important things that really are the little things in life. Keep that in mind as you travel about your day, and don't sometimes let those big things that you think are the end of the world get in the way of what really matters. Just small thoughts. As we go to headlines, Friday afternoon, there would be a helicopter crash in Louisiana. It has claimed the life of 3 people in Louisiana. Still, details are sketchy on all of this as researchers dig into this to try to find out the cause and what happened with that. Richard Moore, South Carolina, was put to death over the weekend for a murder back in the early 90s. There was a little controversy over it. He went into a convenience store, somehow or another, took the gun from the clerk. He was shot. He was put to death this weekend, South Carolina. This is one of those situations, as we remember, and there's already been a lawsuit filed over it to where workers were said that they were detained and could not leave work in Tennessee. Y'all remember that at the factory, to where I think it was 11 people said they couldn't leave and they were swept away. The last person's body has been found from that. Condolences to their family, as this has been quite some time. Horrifying, and our hearts go out to them. New Jersey is where we go next. This is one of those unthinkable things where you open up your door and someone has a gun. A mother and daughter were killed during a home robbery in New Jersey. They have arrested a suspect in it. Thank goodness. Again, one of those heart-touching things that we often talk about this when we're on wreck scenes here in the Meridian area. The interstate is shut down. There's an accident. People are piling up watching. We've done this also here. It all kind of combines. I can remember Highway 19 being shut down for a little bit as new power lines were stretched across the road. The unthinkable happened in Michigan as they had the road blocked. Doing that, 18-wheeler came along, just not paying attention. Rear-ended, 4 people were killed, 17 injured in this accident. It just kept pushing cars forward. All I can say is always have your head on your shoulders when you're stopped in traffic like this on an interstate. It's dangerous. They're called secondary accidents is what they're called, and it can happen in the blink of an eye. Keep those families in your thoughts. This just really, really bothers me. I think even Trump made a statement about this. The squirrel, the famous squirrel, are y'all familiar with that? Had over 500,000 followers. A friendly little fella. He was rescued by a guy. He took him into his home. Well, those that are on the left side complained to authorities that he had a pet, and there is a law against it. I didn't say the law was right of keeping wild animals in your home. Somebody can turn you in. He was taking care of the little fella. I think he had another one. Smart squirrel. He was taken by the federal government and euthanized. Now, someone tell me why that's right. He was taking care of that little fella. Have you watched any of the videos? It's just sad. Euthanized for no reason, being well cared for. As Earl Pitts would say, that gets under my crawl. You know what makes me sick? Somebody complaining that doesn't know what they're talking about. That's just sad. Check with your accountants this morning if you've got one. They've announced the new 401 contribution limits for 2025. Speak with your accountant. Make sure that you've got all of that right. If you need that stuff, make sure to talk with them today. Arizona allegedly has killed his mother and reported her kidnapped in an attempt to cover it up. Reported her being kidnapped and he had actually killed her. There's some bad things in this country, folks. I'm going to say I don't know everything about this. We're going to start in 1990. Guy owned I think he was selling cars, and he may have been rolling back mileage on them with a drill. Y'all remember that thing there? He got in trouble over it, spent 3 years in jail. He had a secretary that allegedly he was having a fling with. His wife was at home, and a knock came on the door. It was a clown with balloons. The wife was shot. She was murdered. This woman just got out of prison. She still says she had nothing to do with it, but she was the secretary who then later married the boyfriend, who was the husband of the woman got killed. I confused everybody just yet? They finally, back in, I think it was 16 or 17, sent her to jail for the murder, linking her to DNA. She's now out of jail. The clown is free. You can't get any more twisted than that. I'm not sure if everybody followed me that. It was basically an affair. The girlfriend took it out on the wife and then later married the husband, most likely. Where do you gain in that? I never watched Dawson's Creek. I don't know much about it, but one of the main actors of it, James Van Der Beek, has announced he has cancer. He's dealing with it. We wish him well. Cancer is a horrible, horrible disease that most of us have known, whether you've had it, a family member, or a close friend has had it. They've identified 2 people that were killed in Orlando, Florida. Do you remember this, the Halloween, where the shooting broke out? A 19-year-old and a 25 have been identified as 2 that were killed in the crowd. Tornadoes ripped through Oklahoma over the weekend. 11 people were injured after heavy rains. It's a lot of injury there. Thankfully, no deaths that I'm aware of this morning. As I have a puzzled look on this, I started not to even do this story. As we all know, we should know. Let me back up on that. Not everyone knows that there's one above, one Lord and Savior. One of the Mexican leaders was worshiping let me see what it's called, the Holy Death. It's a skeletal remain of a female. They worship it, and it's supposed to help those who are convicts, who've been in trouble, as he was worshiping. And again, it's supposed to protect them from death. He was shot and killed while worshiping it. I'll leave it at that. And again, I don't quite understand everything about that. I'll leave it alone as we get that. NBC in hot water as you get into Saturday Night Live. And this is all one of those, when you get into these national shows and television, you have to give equal time. If you have one candidate, you have to give the exact time to another candidate. And so would I here. If you have someone running for office, you got to give exact time. They gave a minute and something to Kamala, and they did not for Trump. They're being criticized. I don't know if anything will be done over it, but it was a skit on Saturday Night Live, and they say it was one last push for Kamala to help. I don't know that. I can't prove that, but we do know the facts are they gave more time to her than they did Trump. Something to think on. We'll be right back as we get our day underway. As we get this day started, we're going to be back with some weather in just a second.
When I was elected to the state Senate 9 years ago, my goal was to bring a new generation of conservative leadership to the Capitol to get things done. I'm Jennifer Branning, and I'm running for the Mississippi Supreme Court to do the same thing. I've written legislation to lower taxes and reduce regulations on farmers, manufacturers, and other businesses in Mississippi. On the Supreme Court, I'll use my experience and conservative values to always interpret the law, not to rewrite it or bend the rules for anyone.
Let's face it, accidents are going to happen. If a deer jumps out in front of your car, go see my friends and professionals at Chet's Paint and Body Shop in Center Hill. Chet can help you navigate through this confusing world of insurance by providing photo estimates to insurance companies and the right to choose the body shop of your choice. From a minor scratch to a major collision, Chet has you covered. Chet offers quality repairs by trained and certified technicians with a lifetime warranty on all repairs. That's Chet's Paint and Body Shop. How's everybody adjusting to this new time? Fall back? I'm usually at work at 3. I was here at 2 this morning. It's really got me messed up. Even Odie came in early. My body is not adjusted to this. I'm still working off old time, which means tonight I'll be wanting to conk out really early. It'll turn dark and I'll want to go to bed. Let's get into our forecast now.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
Our record highs, record lows, it was 2016, which has been a daily record setter. 85 back on this date. Back in 1966, the record low was 24. What a bird day that was. As we look across today, it will be somewhere between 81 to 82. There are some chances of severe weather in the northwest corner of Mississippi, the Delta. We'll look at that in just a moment. Otherwise, mostly sunny for the most part today. A few clouds here and there. 81 Columbus, 80 around Philadelphia, and even down the Natchez, we should see about 85. As we go east into Bama, 83 in Demopolis. Tuscaloosa should see 81 as well. Some 70-degree weather in northern Alabama as we look at that. As we come across strong winds today, we're looking at possibility of 25-mile-an-hour gust. Very heavy throughout Kemper County, Neshoba County, these areas there. Even northwestern Newton County will have this. Winston County, y'all look out. It's a great day to put clothes on a clothesline. It'll dry probably in 30 minutes. It'll blow them clean, quick. It's not a great hair day, though, is it? As I talked about, some severe storms possible today down the Mississippi River, west of Vicksburg, up through the Mississippi Delta, up to Cleveland, and these areas around Greenville. If you're going to be in there, we could see some rain from 10 until 4. Again, this is going to be a level 1. Again, you cannot rule out tornadic activity there either. As we look at this, hot weather still projected across the deep south from Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and most of Florida. As we see this, there's that 20% chance of rain for our area, and it will stay in the forecast for most of the week, increasing to a 30% chance on Saturday. We may see a shower or two there. Today's high, 81. About the same tomorrow with a high of 82. Warmer on Wednesday at 85, and then by Friday, we start seeing dips back into the 70s. Can't wait for that, can you? After all, it is November. You will be wearing a short sleeve shirt on Thanksgiving, I'm almost certain. Possibly Christmas. As we look at this all the way through the 18th, we do see a couple of days of the 6-0 put in there. The 14th, we could see 69, 67 on the 15th, and even the 17th, still some 60s there. Maybe that will be the change. Our next big chances of rain will roll in on the 13th and 14th of about 50% chance of rain. Now, we're a few days out on this, and we're also going to be watching a big nasty storm that we're going to show you in just a second. The fishing times for today, it looks like it's going to be great this morning at 10 o'clock. 10 until 12 will be a great time. That's actually minor times. Let's get to the good stuff. Major time, 2 o'clock this afternoon until 4. Not bad to try it there at 10 a.m., but your major times will be at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Had another chance early in the morning. Again, gusts of 25 miles an hour, sustained wind southeast at 10 to 15. Brought to you by your friends at J&J. As we go over to check out deer hunting, what's going on with it? Major times today will happen this afternoon around 1:15 through about 3:15. An early hunt. We'll call it a midday hunt is what you should call that. If you can get out, take advantage of it. Bow season. We're 2 weeks away or so before gun season happens. The day rating is pretty good. Sunrise happens at 6:14 this morning. The sunset's going to happen at 5:01. It's almost an hour. Yeah, it is an hour difference, isn't it? Yeah. That time rollback has really changed things. Again, the wind around 15, sustained, gust as high as 25 miles an hour. That's not good for your scent. We'll just be honest about that. Now, as we look at this, there's Patty over there minding her own business, way away from the U.S. of A. Not much chance of this happening here, 10% chance. This is Storm System 18, a 90% chance. Now, let's just back out and go over to radar and show you what we know about this storm at this point. Or are we going to get something out of it? We certainly are. Could be rain. It looks like it's trickling northwest. Let's pull up radar. As we pull up Honda Meridian radar, we show this. This is Saturday. This is going to be a Category 1 as it gets ready for landfall somewhere in Louisiana, it looks like. And again, it could turn either way. It should have roughly around winds of 63 miles an hour before landfall. We're watching this. But again, it will gain on Wednesday up to a Category 1. We're days out on this. 5 days out, 5-6 days before it really makes up its mind what it's going to be doing. Let's look at spaghetti models. Let's turn this on. And as you'll see, there are some models that show that it could go up through the Mississippi, up through the Gulf Coast there, through Hattiesburg, even toward Jackson. Most likely, as we look at the majority of these spaghetti models, it's going to keep tracking to the northwest of us and go into Beaumont, somewhere in Louisiana, in that area. Again, it just is way too early to say where this will happen. We're dealing with Mother Nature here. all indicate, again, that it will be to the northwest of Mississippi, northwest of our coastline. We're going to watch this closely. Should any of that change and it become a threat to you, we will let you know. But as you'll see, regardless of where it goes, we're most likely going to get a little rain out of this. At this point, it's showing that Mobile, Biloxi, just south of Hattiesburg, would get a little bit of this rain. With this. Now, it's going to twist and turn and get a little bit more intensity to it. You'll see Wiggins, Poplarville, Bogalusa, as we go into all of those areas. Highway 90 would be included in this. Again, this is the unlikely path where you see these lines here. No one can guarantee you anything, and don't think they can at this point when it comes to predicting this storm. We're days out, and it's going to be a lot of arithmetic added and moved from this. We will watch it for you, let you know when it becomes a threat and who should be concerned of where it's going. We'll be on top of that. Already 6:51. Can y'all believe that? Almost time for the morning show. I got to get coffee. I can't function without it. We're going to have that coming up in just a moment there. Let's see. Somebody mentioned a scammer over here. Ooh, let's see here. Let's get rid of them. I think they're gone now. If you see another one, let us know, and we'll take care of that. Susan joining us from Chunky today. So glad to see you. Well, let's see here. James is enjoying it as well. Diane, see you as well. Tony, good morning. We'll be right back. We're less than 10 minutes from, well, actually, it's 4 minutes. Whoops. We'll be back live in just a moment. Join us, won't you? All things local. Odie's back. We're glad to have him. We'll see you in just a moment here at the Scotty Ray Report. Join us, won't you?